Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're returning to part 2 of the round 2 of the My Favorite Tag Team Tournament. Round 2, part 2 for Group A of the LJNs. So we did complete the first 4 matchups in the last video. We do have 7 tag teams remaining. So we only have 3 matchups in this video. We're going to have a one-on-one matchup for the first 2 matchups, and then the last matchup is going to be a one-on-one-on-one. So whatever 3 teams are left over is going to be, well, they're going to be the ones who didn't luck out, I guess. So we're just going to dive right in and see who our competitors are. All right, so grab my little trusty hat here. Alright, first one is the Dream Team, and they are going to square off against, well, that sucks, the Rhythm and Blues. So either way, Greg Valentine is going to get eliminated this battle. Next one is going to feature Legion of Doom. That's the Random and Treasures version, as they square off against the British Bulldogs. That's from Robert Jackson. And that means that the last 3 teams remaining will square up against each other. That's Hogan and Hillbilly, Demolition from Random Treasures, and the Brett and Jim Custom will all meet in the final matchup. So I'm going to pause, pull those figures, and we will begin. Alright, everybody, we are back with the first matchup, which is going to pit 2 Greg Valentine tag teams, both Rhythm and Blues and the Dream Team, against each other. Problem is, you got customs on originals. Now, don't get me wrong, I do value originality over customization, but as much as I say that, I always seem to place a high preference on customs over original figures. And I think it's more because original figures are so common. You know, it's something that everybody can have, or everybody does have, or everybody knows about. But with customs, they're specifically designed, they're unique. They're fresh takes on certain figures. Everybody has a Greg Valentine. There's nothing special or unique about the figure. You're not showing anything off that a million other people don't already have or know about. But I could potentially be the only person in the world that has this particular Greg Valentine. I'm sure there's plenty of customizers out there who have made this exact same Greg Valentine LJN custom, but still, you like to think that you have an original figure, an original idea. And if they have made a figure like this, maybe they haven't made it exactly like this with the little built-on jacket and everything. I don't know. For the sake of argument, let's say I am the only person that has this particular one. That's why I like customs. Again, if they're just taking a figure that's, a nice figure that was, maybe this is a bad example, but because it's a simple figure, so Greg Valentine I really don't mind, but like I talked about like a Hillbilly Jim. If you take a Hillbilly Jim that's in almost mint condition and start cutting off its head and limbs and stuff, I don't like that. I don't want to destroy perfectly good figures. But if you take like a figure like this and all you're doing is putting on a jacket like this, you're not really destroying the figure, not really. What do they talk about when you're creating rules? You can add on to, but you can't take away. So Customs, they're just fresh takes, give you new ideas, new perceptions, new viewpoints, and everything. So, yeah, I say I like originals better than customs, but I appreciate customs as much as anybody out there, and I think my custom wall pretty much proves that. And when I made this pairing of Rhythm and Blues, I chose this one I got from Stinger GQ. I chose this version over the Raider Nation black suited Honky Tonk Man. I just feel like this version meshed better with this Greg Valentine. And just kind of looking at these figures, I really believe that this set is going to go very far in this competition. I don't know how many rounds this tournament's going to go. I don't think it's going to be no 7 rounds, though. Trying to get myself situated here. Based on the amount of figures and the different groups, I think it'll probably go 4 rounds, maybe 5. I don't know. I don't think it'd be like no 7-round tournament or anything like that, but I feel like those have a legitimate chance of being right at the end. I already know the Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine tandem aren't going to win. It's just a too simple of a figure. And I don't know if just looking at the remaining figures that are left here, I don't think that these figures would have defeated anyone else. Greg Valentine, I have this figure listed as my number 5 all-time favorite LJN. So, yeah, the LJN original Greg Valentine means a lot to me. I've talked about it a lot. My most used LJN figure. So, the most enjoyable figure, I would say. And, Brutus Beefcake, a pretty decent one as well for the most part. Especially when you're looking at, like, the bendy version, which has one of the best, for the bendy, the pose definitely works the best. But when you're comparing these originals to... And imagine if we weren't talking about Brutus Beefcake original. Imagine if this wasn't Honky Tonk Man. Imagine if this was the Mega Maniac Brutus Beefcake. Same thing. The originals wouldn't have stood a chance. These figures are just way too good. And there are a couple of tag teams that I put together. One in particular that you're going to see in the very last round. I'm going to mention it. That I put together, that I thought that I created the perfect duel that was going to win hands down. But kind of seeing some of these other tag teams, I don't know. I don't know if it's as lights out as I originally thought. So, Rhythm and Blues defeats the Dream Team. Oh man, that sucks though. I hated losing that so early. That's Dream Team. That goes there. This is Rhythm and Blues. That goes there. Alright. I really got to invest in like a handkerchief or something. Alright, so this one is... Alright, this one is the Custom British Bulldogs by Robert Jackson. And they are going to square off against the Random Treasures Legion of Doom figures. So, this is where nostalgia versus playability comes into play. So, Random Treasures. I don't like the playability on these figures. Animal is just terrible. Huck is a little bit playable, kind of like a little bit like Nikolai Volkov, but not a lot. But it's still somewhat usable. Aesthetically, for an adult collector, just displaying them, they look phenomenal. I still think that among Ram Treasures figures, that these are pretty much the heart and soul of, their inventory. But are they better than the British Bulldog figures. The playability isn't there. The look 100% is there. And the nostalgia is there. I've always said Legion of Doom has been my favorite tag team because of their impactfulness, their ability to be like enforcers, the way they work in tandem with one another, their ability to stay together for years and not breaking up. You know, they went from territory to territory, from brand to brand, always stayed together, always stayed the same name, you know. It was always, you know, Road Warriors, Legion of Doom type of deal. And, trying to get this on there tight. I really like the figures, I do. I don't like the pose on them, but overall, they are what they are. Good figures, yeah. I would have loved them better if they were like Hulk Hogan type poses. I don't know, like give him like Hulk Hogan, maybe him like maybe Greg Valentine. Something simple like that would have been perfect. They go up against the British Bulldogs. Now, I have said many a time, I absolutely despise the British Bulldogs one arm up poses. I think it's absolutely horrendous. They are very playable figures. You could still do like jump off the top rope, one arm clothesline type deal, one arm body slams. They're playable figures. That's something. They're not fun figures for play. At least in my opinion, they're not. But they're serviceable. I don't know a lot about Dynamite Kid, but I've been learning a lot about him ever since I've started collecting LJNs, and I'm becoming a huge fan. The British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, in my eyes, my entire life growing up, he was always the British Bulldog. I didn't know him as Davey Boy Smith or anything like that. It was just simply the British Bulldog. Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, perennial Royal Rumble competitor, and he's a legitimate force to win the champion or win the Royal Rumble. Battle Royal champion. This man was arguably one of the greatest wrestlers that I've ever seen. One of my top 5 all-time favorite wrestlers. Maybe not top 5, but I mean top 6, top 7. He's got to be up there. I mean, in all honesty, who do I put higher than Davey Boy Smith? Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man, Bret Hart, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, maybe. Among those guys, who had the legitimate in-ring capabilities? What I've been, hearing and watching lately about the Ultimate Warrior, I'm not loving. So I've been losing a lot of respect about the Ultimate Warrior recently. So that could really shoot the Warrior further down my list, while he can really sky climb. So his in-ring capabilities are definitely there. So nostalgia for Davey Boy is definitely there. The figure itself is good. What Rob did with the actual customization, with the United Kingdom flag and everything, it might be a simple color change for some people, but for me, again, a simple color scheme makes a world of difference. This could have been all red pants, and all he could have done is make it all white pants. That makes it an all new figure in my eyes. So, is any of that enough to surpass who I've been classifying for decades as my favorite tag team, the Legion of Doom? Can I put the Bulldogs over Road Warriors at any point? I have been known once or twice to make some of the most shocking decisions in my tournament videos. I'm going to shock the world once again. Because the answer is yes. I am going to choose the British Bulldogs to move on to round 3. I think in this scenario, I did choose the Bulldogs because I do think that their pose is just a little bit better than what you get from Legion of Doom. Bulldogs or Legion of Doom, as far as favorite tag team, I think either one could have done very well. But play pose had to be the final factor. Both great color, both great history and nostalgia, everything that you want. Both tag teams had it. So play pose was my final factor, and one arm sucks, but it was still better than what you get out of this. So Legion of Doom is gone. For those Legion of Doom fans, do not fret. We still have Legion of Doom Hasbro, and we have Legion of Doom Remco. Do either of them win? Alright, the next battle. So British Bulldogs go there. And this was Legion of Doom. They go over there. So the final matchup was the LJN tag team. Of Hulk Hogan and Hillbilly Jim. So we already know Hulk Hogan, very well possibly the most perfect wrestling action figure ever created. Best pose. The only downside of the Hogan LJN figure is that he's like extra skinny. And if you look at the bulkiness of like Big John Studd, and I think Big John Studd was like 350 pounds, and Hogan had to be like around 305 or something. So not quite as heavy, but I mean they could have made this figure not so thin. You know, they could have made him a little bit, you know, I mean Hogan isn't exactly fat or anything, but I mean they could have, you know, rumped him up a little bit. I mean I don't think Hillbilly Jim is fat or anything like that, but they could have made him like Hillbilly Jim size or something. Hillbilly Jim to me, I think is the most underrated LJN figure of all time. Because this is a fantastic figure. I absolutely love this. When I first got this figure, I was kind of underrating him as well. Like I really didn't think it was all that great with one arm up, one arm down, like so many figures have. But when you actually look at the figure and you think, okay, it's such a simple figure. You know, a burly guy, grizzly guy, you know, farmer look, hat, coveralls, poses and all that great. But he's a thick, heavier guy. You know, has a lot of matches with King Kong Bundy. I think that's a lot of fun. Watching Bundy squash this guy and then do the drop on him. Oh my God, getting crushed by a 450-pound King Kong Bundy. Wow, one of the funniest matches I'd ever seen. And I didn't remember this, but I actually saw a YouTube video a few weeks ago, and when I saw that video, it clicked in my head, and I got that refresh, and I remembered the match. It was King Kong Bundy and a bunch of little people versus Hillbilly Jim and a bunch of LPs. Anyways, one of the LPs on Hillbilly Jim's side started attacking King Kong Bundy, trying to save Hillbilly Jim. King Kong Bundy picks that guy up, slams him, does a belly flop, crushes the guy, and even King Kong Bundy's guys come over and they pull that guy out before King Kong Bundy comes over and drops another on him, or crushes him again, and he's disqualified. Like Bundy's walking around like, yeah, he did something good. Like that little guy's got to be like 60 pounds. You weigh over 400 pounds more than this guy, and you're happy about what you just did to him. But you happen to see Bundy and Hillbilly Jim in matchups a lot, and they're in no way, shape, or form equal in size. But I think this would be that. I always talk about having King Kong Bundy and Hillbilly Jim as like, if I were to create my own personal World Wrestling Federation, with the LJNs or something, if I ever did that. How I'd make Hillbilly Jim my heavyweight champion, and like he and King Kong Bundy would like kind of go like back and forth, between taking the belt off each other. And I just thought that was pretty awesome to see those matches between them, and I didn't even remember about those battles, not until I saw the video and got that refresher. So maybe something like that does click in your head without you even knowing about it. But two awesome figures, and I talked about Hogan and Savage, and Hogan and Brutus, and even Hogan and Hillbilly, potentially seeing 3 different Hogan tag teams being in the finals. You may not have a 2-man or a 2 tag team finals. You could have a 3-man or a 3 tag team finals. I've had that a couple times already. 3-man final matches. But the difficult part about this is there are a couple of really dynamic tag teams in this final bout, or in this final matchup. One of them from Random Treasures is Demolition. Demolition has one of my most hated poses with the whole Jesse Ventura one-armed cock to the side pose. I despise. But their overall look is absolutely incredible. That is why I classify the Demolition figures as one of Random Treasure's all-time greatest figures. The Axe figure, as a matter of fact, is not Random Treasures. I actually keep this with the Random Treasures line, or with the Random Treasures collection, but you could tell that this is not Random Treasures. Reason I keep it with Random Treasures is because of the face paint. So when you go on Random Treasure's website, on their Etsy page, you see the exact, Axe Hasbro face paint. So somebody took a regular red face Axe and they painted it. I think I bought this one from Stinger GQ, if I'm not mistaken. And it's an original figure based on the perfect or original LJN skin tone and rubber. I mean, just look at the rubber difference. You got this really awesome original LJN rubber, and then look at the really crappy rubber that Random Treasures gives you. I don't know why Random Treasures does that. Like, they charge you a fortune for their figures, but they give you this crappy rubber that, I'm serious. If you take the figure and you want to split it in half, you can. The rubber is that cheap. Random Treasures, you're disappointing. But again, I only keep it with them because that's the look that Random Treasures has, and I want to keep these two together because they go together. So, but everything about these figures are fantastic, minus this. Give these figures a real fighting pose, and they would be about the most perfect figures you could find. The with the vest and the straps and everything, the face paint. Top 10 figures all day. Now, my golden gooses for this tournament. I've talked about it the first time I brought these figures up. When I do my favorite LJN tournament, I always say that I think that these figures could be finalists, that these could be the last 2 figures standing. Based on the way that I have the figures, situated on the shelf. Well, before I did this, I had them on the DVD shelves, you guys remember, and they were all, situated on the shelf like this. So, Bret Hart would be sitting there, followed by Jam, and, whoever would be next. So, Orton and Jake, and, so on. So the first time I did my favorite LJN tournament, I had the original Bret Hart, and then I had the custom Bret Hart and any other custom Bret Harts. Then I had the original Jim, and I had the custom Jim, next to it. So the original Bret would have faced the custom Bret, and then custom Jim faced, so on. And then the round 2, these two would have faced each other, and Bret would have won. The second time I did it, I had them separated, customs together, all the originals were together. But same thing, I would have put originals against customs, and then these two still would have squared off in round 2, so, or maybe round 3, but I think it would have been round 2 that they would have squared off, and this Bret would have defeated this Jim Neidhart figure. So even though I think that Jim Neidhart, as far as fighting pose, is a much better figure than Bret Hart, this Bret Hart is arguably one of the best figures of the entire collection, either original or custom. So, yeah, this is going to be like a round 4 or round 5 figure every single time. There's very few figures in my collection that's going to surpass this Bret Hart. And when I decided to do this tag team tournament, I wanted to put these particular figures together because I felt like with these two figures together to create the Hart Foundation, I don't care what tag team I put together. If I decided to do just LJNs, or if I decided to do what I ended up doing and do all Galoob, Remco, Hasbro, there was not a single tag team that was going to compete against these guys. These guys were going to sweep the floor with absolutely everybody. But I'm looking at some of my teams. I'm looking at the Rhythm and Blues right there. I'm looking at the Mega Maniacs from Hasbro. I'm looking at Mega Powers from LJN. I'm looking at the High Flyers from Remco. Okay, I'm looking at Sid and Barry from Galoob. That's not even counting the Sid and Barry from LJN. There are just so many absolutely amazing tag teams in this tournament that the guys that I put together thinking that they were going to absolutely kill this tournament may not even make it out of round 3. Heck, we're only in round 2. They may not even make it out of this round. That's insane. The guys I thought would win, hands down, are potential winners, but not a guarantee. It just goes to show that nothing is guaranteed in life. So, you got the Hart Foundation. You got Hogan and Hillbilly. And you've got Demolition. As far as, I know Hart Foundation or, legitimate tag teams and whatnot, but I still view both of them as, I know them better, as individual wrestlers. And, Bret Hart in particular. So I view Demolition as the most legitimate tag team. So that gives Demolition the most credibility in this matchup between these three. Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan have the best percentage as far as individual champions. So I don't know if I can necessarily push Hogan and Hillbilly forward. I think Hogan is the best figure among all of these play-wise. I love the Hillbilly Jim figure. I just don't think I can. I want to see all Hogan tag team at the end, but I just don't think I can do it with these guys. I have to push somebody out and I have to. It sucks, but my first Hogan tag team is gone, which is going to leave me with Hart Foundation and Demolition. I said it. I didn't think that these guys would lose to anybody. I thought this was going to be the perfect tandem. And now it looks like they may not even make it out of round 2. I consider Bret Hart to be more of a singles than a duel. And this is a tag team tournament after all. And I consider Demolition to be among my top 3, maybe top 4 at worst, favorite tag teams of all time. This is a toughie, though. Those freaking hand poses. The Jim Neidhart is a superior figure to all 3, to the other 3. Bret Hart is essentially a punch-only figure. But punch-only is still better than what these guys can do. Demolition, great figures. Those punches, those hand poses killed them, and it ruined their chances for advancement. They are going home for the tournament. The Hart Foundation does push forward to round 3 after all. So, Rhythm and Blues, the custom British Bulldogs, and the custom Hart Foundation are advancing to round 3 in this video. Some really gut-wrenching losses, but I think they were some that had to be made. And which way does this go? Is it upside down? No, I think I had it the right way. I'm trying to get this championship belt that fell off Jim over here. Alright. So, with this win, or with this victory, that concludes round 2, Group A, LJNs. And I'm going to try not to wait so long to get to the next set of videos. Yeah. I'm going to get that Remco video posted today. So today is, what's today's date? Today is Wednesday, May 24th. So, May 24th. So, Remco posted today. Then tomorrow will be that Honky Tonk Man video. So, on the 26th and the 27th will be the 2 videos for the LJN videos. So, I'm probably looking at somewhere around the 29th or the 30th to have the Hasbro videos posted, if they're made on time. Alright, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. In the meantime, I will be talking to you in the comments. Goodbye, everyone.